We're here live. Well, you knew we were going to start with this. We couldn't leave this out.
No. Mean by God, Gene.
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. Oh man, what a segment.
Hogan still got it.
They could have just hit the credits after that fucking promo. They didn't even need the rest. They didn't need the other 90 minutes of that show.
Well, we'll talk about that. I may not necessarily agree entirely with
I
that.
just mean, like, what are you going to do after he comes out and does that?
Well, right. I mean, it was definitely, I think, earlier in the show than I expected.
Yeah.
But they did do it the halfway point, which I guess kind of makes sense. Listen, Hogan still got it, man. He cut a hell of a promo, and that tribute was very well done by the production team. I mean, we say it time and time again, WWE's production crew and what they do with these videos and montages and everything, they're just so on point. They do such a great job. And then to cap it off with Hogan, who, quite honestly, I don't think there was anyone more perfect than Hogan to be the one to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And a great way to bring him back to Monday Night Raw. So
yeah, and I was gonna say, before we jumped into everything, I'm hot about a couple things on the internet. So this whole thing is one of them.
I think
there's a bunch. First of all, we're gonna cover like everything because the Young Bucks just had their All Elite Wrestling live stream, making some huge announcements, and then there's. I'm not even going to start. I'm just going to mention it, and then I'll move on. The spot with the bloody tampon.
Yeah,
and
fucking disgusting.
Yeah, we need to get into that in a little bit later. But we're still saying nice things about Mean Gene and Hogan. And if you were on the Monday Night Raw,
wait a minute. Country soul. And perhaps you'd best take heed to the title of this next cut by Hillbilly Jim. Don't go messing with a country boy.
So apparently that was the next track on that album. Don't go messing with a country boy. Well, all right. The tribute was very nice. Hulk Hogan came out and said some nice things and seemed legitimately sad, first of all, for the loss of Mean Gene. Seemed, legitimately.
Oh, they were close. You could tell.
Legitimately touched by the reaction of the audience. And then if you went on the internet and you read like the Monday Night Raw live thread for Reddit, the wrestling Reddit squared circle
or Twitter.
Yeah, a lot of the comments were, "Oh, hey, did Hogan say the N-word tonight? Hey, did they put him in a segment with Apollo Crews? Did they put him in a segment with a black guy? Did he say the N?" It was all just variations on a theme. Or the other thing that I saw was so disgusted with WWE. I feel sick watching the segment. Something about it was uneasy. Or like the other response was more middle of the road. Like, well, I don't really like Hogan, but you have to respect what he just did out there, and he still wanted blah blah. So they're everyone's qualifying their statements about Hulk Hogan because and we've been in this before, and I'm not going to dwell on it, but it bugs me.
Well, no, we should kind of fucking dwell on it a little bit because
I have to move my thing so Hogan's in frame here, brother. But it bugs the shit out of me because it was something. It was not a nice thing that he said. It was many years ago. It was a recorded conversation that he didn't know was being recorded and didn't know would be released to millions of people around the world. He's apologized for it several times. He's donated to charity. He's personally talked to the WWE locker room. The thing that bugs me about it is if you really want to pick apart wrestling, Vince McMahon covered up a murder 40 years ago. That happened.
Yeah.
Under Vince McMahon's watch, there was the young boy scandal where young boys were molested by WWE employees, including Pat Patterson, who got fired and then rehired. There was the 1994 steroid trial. There's the Ultimate Warrior saying queering doesn't make the world work. There's all kinds of very nasty things that you can find about anybody involved in the wrestling business, or really, if you dig deep enough about anybody in general, you're going to find something that they've said that they.
And if you have anybody's private conversation, you're going to say something that you don't want to be put out in public.
Well, listen, let me just jump in real quick because I want to just make it clear too. Vince is not saying that because it was so long ago that's an excuse for him saying what he said, but at the end of the day, we are so fucking sensitive, overly sensitive at this point. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There are certain, you know what I'm saying? Listen, there are certain things, I get it. And I'm not going to, obviously, listen, you know which ones those are. Yeah. And what Hogan said was horrible. He said it a long time ago. He's apologized, like Vince said. He's done all the charities. It gets to a point where you got to move on. At the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is still the Babe Ruth of professional wrestling. Professional wrestling would not be what it is today without that man. I don't care what anyone says.
It could, potentially would not even be on TV right now.
Right. Exactly. It makes my blood boil. It's like, get over yourselves. You know what I mean? There's something, every single person that made a comment has said or done something in their lives that they wish they could take back. There's something.
I know people personally, like I'll read their Facebook and I'll be like, man, if anybody ever heard 1% of the things that I've heard you say in a locker room or backstage at a show, not even, so that's wrestling guys, but even non-wrestling people, I could just think back. If somebody says something about Hogan, be like, listen, I know some shit you said that you wouldn't like if everybody saw a goddamn Instagram video or whatever it is of the thing that you said, and then 100 million people see it and suddenly have an opinion. And it's fine to have an opinion. It's just, the wonderful thing about free speech is if I think you have a shitty opinion, I get to express my opinion too. Yeah. So I just think that it's such a shitty way that we're taking one thing that somebody does. And I'm not talking about just about Hulk Hogan. I'm talking about society in general right now. Can find one thing, like Kevin Hart made a tweet a couple of years ago. First of all, he's a comedian.
It was a stand-up routine. It was a stand-up routine. It wasn't.
Right, it wasn't meant as it wasn't a homophobic slur. He wasn't inciting violence on. Right, so this whole thing is ridiculous. We're canceling people for things that they said.
We're retroactively creating a PC culture.
Yeah, we're trying to wipe away the past and pretend that everything is squeaky clean and whatever, diverse and all this other horse shit. Not that diversity is a bad thing, but I prefer diversity via qualification of your skills and personality and overall niceness, and not what box that you check off on some form at Human Resources. Yeah. That doesn't matter to me. It's not the color of your skin; it's the content of your
character.
So, really famous guy said that once, and I feel like we've gone backwards the last 5 or 6 years.
You're onto something there. Some famous guy. We have a holiday about him.
Anyway, that's my thing about that situation. Maybe it's the kombucha talking, but I'm off.
Let me. You know what else bothers me about these assholes? What bothers me, what really fires me up too is you're taking away what was a beautiful moment in wrestling history.
Yeah,
a tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund, one of the best in the business, and that's your take from it. Out of everything, your take was, "Oh, Hogan used the N-word, 15 years ago."
Yeah,
I mean,
the best way about wording that is they, out of all the tributes to Mean Gene, they're making it about their virtue signal.
Yeah, it has to be about them and their opinion and the cultural impact.
Look at me coming swooping in and saving the day and making this about what I feel instead of what's actually happening.
Yep, and that is the point we're at in,
it just makes my blood boil. It really does. It really does. But I got to say, moving on a little bit, since we are really talking about Raw, obviously, because that's where the tribute was, I have to say this was one of the better Raws, in my opinion, all the way through from start to finish that we've had in a while. I think it's starting to get better and better every week. I don't know what you guys thought. We didn't really talk too much in the chat during, but I enjoyed a lot of different moments of Raw. I think it's just hot. What?
It started off hot with the brawl.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's start there, right? I mean, when was the last time Undertaker Brock? I think was probably the last time they opened with something like that. So that was cool. And then it tied in at the very end of the show.
There's a 6-man tag match again. Why? Why did they have to do that?
And then have the two of the guys be in the main event. Yeah, I was on the, but I mean, at least, it wasn't a very long 6-man tag, and it set up the main event. So that's
right. I mean, and like, I'm with you, Amanda. Like, I was kind of like, all right, here we go, another one. But at the same time, it gets all of them some ring time, whatever. But then, and then I saw it the same thing. I was like, all right, great. So now we're going to have, the main event with this Rollins and Ambrose. But then they made it Falls Count Anywhere, or Falls Count Anywhere. So it was an exciting match because it went all over the arena. It was in the back. They had some good spots. So I thought the match was pretty cool, and then it ended pretty much the way I kind of assumed it would, based on how the show opened. I assumed it was going to end that way, but I think that was also a good way to end it too, because Rollins had it.
Yeah,
they're
resetting the table too. They're taking Seth and Dean and splitting them up, because usually a stipulation match like a Falls Count Anywhere or something like that will be the end of a feud, unless it's that fucking lumberjack match in the middle of the show. We'll talk about that in a second. But which was a good match, but they're doing these fucking finishes with Revival. Anyway, they're the classic team. They should be having all these streaks. If history.
Oh,
they're going to win. This is set up for them to win.
Right. This is setting up that the Revival probably at the Rumble are going to leave as your tag champions, and I'm definitely okay with that.
Oh,
the Revival is a solid fucking team, and that match was great.
Yeah, the tag teams are actually pretty decent right now, and not we have very many of them, but the ones we have are good teams, which is better than having the goddamn smoking guns.
It's all about the quality, not the quantity.
Yeah, but the main event is resetting. It splits up Seth and Dean. Seth's going to go with Lashley for a little while.
Yep. Probably till the Rumble.
Right. Supposedly, it's going to set up Rollins going over Lashley to show that he can beat a big guy, to set up him beating Brock Lesnar or facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Who knows if he's going to beat him? It could just be 16 German suplexes and an F5. We don't know. But at least if he beats Bobby Lashley, a guy who's kind of a similar build to Brock Lesnar, a little bit smaller, but still kind of a similar build, it sets, it puts it in people's minds so he can beat that bigger guy. But on the flip side of that, Dean, what I've been reading, is going to go with Balor. Ooh. And that's going to be interesting because now it's like Dean came back in pretty good shape, but now he's going to be huge versus Finn Balor. So Balor's going to be able to do all the stuff that he does really well, but it'll be interesting to see if
how Dean interacts with him.
Right, like if he's the one like keeps him grounded and takes him down and wears him out like that. I don't know.
That kind of makes sense to me then, because everything I've been hearing is that Finn Balor's going to explode in 2019, that they're going to really get behind him and start pushing him. So to have a solid feud with Dean, and I think those two are going to put on some really great matches. So I
think those two guys could put on some really good,
and maybe
singles
be the craziness of matches. Dean. Maybe the craziness of Dean will bring out the demon in Balor, and we'll get a little demon action at the Rumble.
Or Mania at the very least.
You're right. Or WrestleMania re-debut of the demon would be kind of nice. Anything that gets these guys fucking work
Listen, at this point, even if he does it only at WrestleMania, I'm okay with that because then it gives us something else to look forward to. But at least give it to us one time a year because,
it's been a while.
It's been a while, and it's fucking awesome. Like, why not do it all the time? I'm sure it's a pain in the ass for him.
Right. I think for Finn, in Finn's mind too, he's like, am I going to go through all this and just get pinned? I'm not going to do this if I'm losing. I'm only going to do it if I'm winning.
True.
I can see that. Because you need to build up the mystique of that Balor demon thing as like the demon. So far, the demon's unbeaten.
Yeah.
I think that's still kind of
Samoa Joe.
I was just gonna say Joe beat him, but if you build up the mystique of the demon as being this unstoppable force that when Finn Balor gets pushed to his limit and can't stands it no more or whatever it is, the old Popeye thing, he turns into the demon, and then that demon is like an undefeated. I'm not saying he should do like an Undertaker streak, but make it significant where for like 18 months, anytime the demon comes out, he wins the match, and then set up somebody knocks down the demon finally, and that's like a big accomplishment.
Why not do an Undertaker thing?
Well, he's too small, pal. Put some lifts in those boots. Come see me.
That is a very good Vince, by the way.
Yeah, that was a good Vince.
That's a very good Vince, Vince.
I try. It's like I don't know what Vince Lombardi sounded like, so I have to do the Vince McMahon impression. But I think Balor's going to get whatever Kenny Omega was supposed to get.
Well, now, all right. So now you said the
I know I said the magic word.
I'm still hearing a lot of mixed. I'm hearing that he still that the decision has been made, but I'm hearing both. So what are you guys hearing more of? I mean, my gut tells me he's gonna go with Jericho and Cody, and
I think it's significant he wasn't at the press conference.
Well, his contract is still active with New Japan until the 31st of the month.
Yeah,
right. So he probably couldn't even appear.
Oh, good point.
But he had being the Elite had a thing for 4 months where all the guys who were signing with All Elite had a clock counting down on their phones that all of a sudden the ticking sound would come up. And at the end of the episode, or throughout this most recent episode of Being the Elite, Kenny mentioned that he lost his phone. Well, at the end of the episode, they do a little walk around in front of the TGI Fridays near the Tokyo Dome, and they go into the grass, and there's a phone face down, and you hear ticking. So speculation, because when they did flashbacks, Kenny was holding the same red phone, was that that's his phone, that's his countdown, and they're not really indicating.
Yeah, but that could also be a tease without them knowing at that time.
Not knowing
it could be somebody else's phone.
So with all of that said, the most likely thing that I've heard right now is he wants to be able to work with New Japan and All Elite. And because New Japan is currently in an agreement with Ring of Honor that lasts until Madison Square Garden, WrestleMania weekend, New Japan's not going to do anything, at least for the time being. But
if Kenny went to WWE, he wouldn't be able to work for New Japan also.
This is true, but that would be to take the money and the WWE having that on your record as somebody who wrestled in the WWE. There's reasons that you take the WWE deal versus, first of all, I heard there's no creative control in the WWE contract, which whoever gets that, nobody.
Yeah.
So there's one thing that is more negative for Kenny. He likes, a little more input. New Japan is like that too. They let the guys have more input. So
Kenny would have some input, I think, though.
Yeah. So it's just
listen, everything I'm hearing is that if he doesn't go to WWE, it's not at all because of the lack of effort from WWE.
Correct.
And apparently the offer is a very, very, very lucrative offer. So,
right.
It's not for lack of trying, but
All Elite is also offering some very good contracts from what I hear.
Yeah, but they can't be offering WWE money. I mean, that's just my. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because they got a billion.
The guy owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, man,
and a England team.
That's true.
and some hotel chain or something too.
Well, Vince McMahon, he's worth like $7 billion. Okay.
Oh, I would assume anybody with the last name Khan has more money than Vince McMahon for sure. They got that Mideast money.
It's going to be.
There we go. He's got them. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting time for sure because, well, they've already announced what Joey Janela, MJF, Chris Jericho,
Neville,
formerly Neville, Pac, and Billy Gunn is one of their producers, which is
really.
It's good to hear that he signed as a producer, and they're not like, "Hey guys, we're gonna have Billy Gunn wrestle."
So
Kip.
All Elite had their press conference today in Jacksonville, and I urge anybody who hasn't seen it to go on YouTube. I'm sure it's there. It was awesome, and I gotta tell you, man, some of the things that Cody was saying when he first did his speech that really got me excited about the brand is that, you know, first of all, women's wrestling is going to be just as important as men's wrestling, and that there's going to be equal pay for men and women. They are also going to pay their talent. Apparently, you know, these guys don't make as much as you probably think they do. I mean, listen, the higher ups, you know, your Triple H, well, fuck Triple H, but your John Cena's, your Randy Orton's, you know, your guys like that are making, you know, listen, Braun Strowman's making a nice living, but your mid-card guys and down are probably struggling at the end of the day. And Cody had made it very clear that they are all going to get paid. You know, whatever that means, but that gets me excited. He said that they have an open door. Any and all talent, if you think you're athletic, the door is open. They're pretty much opening the world to them. And I just, this is going to be huge. They have the money backing them. They have some of the greatest minds. You got Chris Jericho now, officially a part of AEW. Vince McMahon must be pulling his hair out.
Oh yeah, because he likes Jericho. They're you know, I don't want to say they're buds, but
I have a feeling they're fighting right now.
Yeah, well, what was it? One time, Jericho texted Vince McMahon, like some kind of, he wanted to do something. And he's like, he sent back this like, "Okay, bud," or like, "We'll check. I'll let you know." Like, it was very brief, like basically a no. Go fuck yourself.
I remember the story. I think it was the Mania match with Fandango. If I'm remembering the story
really
correctly.
Abrupt thing, which I thought was funny, just the way that I can imagine Vince McMahon texts. He's just like, "Yeah, sure. Look into it."
Okay, pal.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Okay, pal. The other cool thing is All Elite Wrestling announced a partnership with Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, and some of these guys are, you know, potentially very good. Shima is good. He's involved. Shima's very good. But there's other guys who I'm just reading some comments. Somebody said that a few of them are actual like Shaolin monks who have become, you know how, like, not to generalize, but like that one of their things is like having good balance, and like that's part of their training is having like a good center of balance and being able to do all this acrobatic stuff. And they're translating because that's something in the Oriental countries. I hope I'm saying that right in 2019, but that's kind of their ancient, you know, it's an equivalent of professional wrestling where there are exhibitions. They're not really stabbing each other with these big spears and all this other stuff. They're putting on an exhibition, showing their skills off. So if they can take some of that stuff and integrate it with pro wrestling and make it kind of like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon wrestling match. I would be okay with them using wires. All right. As long as we couldn't really see them, I would go for it.
Yeah. Go pre-recorded.
Yeah. Just digitally take them out. I would be okay with that. As long as it didn't suck. But no, like seriously, if they did more like those martial arts exhibitions, if they brought that kind of athleticism into pro wrestling, I think that has some very good potential.
To put an actual money value on the Jacksonville owner, $6.3 billion.
Ooh.
So I don't think he'll be hurting for any money.
Not too shabby.
And the guy, and imagine the guy owns a shitty football team.
Yeah,
he's got that kind of money. That just shows he doesn't even need a good team to make money. Imagine if he had a good team, he'd be worth $10 billion.
Jacksonville's shown signs of competence. It's not like the Browns during the revival.
Oh, you guys are okay. I'm okay with you guys calling it a revival. You had a
no, I'm talking when they came back.
Oh, what
like that 10-year stretch?
Oh God, that was a dark time where it was just the Ravens, and then finally the Browns came back. Yeah. But yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff. Dave Meltzer, who I know there were rumors that he was being paid by All Elite Wrestling. Listen, he's just friends with them. Like, he's best friends with the Young Bucks pretty much. They all live in California. They, they basically grew up in front of him at PWG shows.
Yeah.
So I don't think they need to pay him to get good press out of Dave Meltzer. That's just, that comes with the territory. He's saying that it's changing by the day. So all of this stuff by next week could either be set in stone, and we could have announcements about whoever going to All Elite Wrestling, or it could all be in flux. We really, there's nothing as far as I know that is set in stone with.
So essentially, we could just have these two events, and that's it.
But I'm also saying it could be that Kenny decides to just go back to New Japan.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's a very good possibility because he is one of their centerpieces.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, he had to drop the title at Wrestle Kingdom. They had a nice segment on Being the Elite where all the Being the Elite guys lost at Wrestle Kingdom. In fact, every single title that was on the line changed at Wrestle Kingdom. Spoiler alert for those of you that didn't watch the show. But they had like segments of each, like Marty and Hangman lost their match in the pre-show, and Cody's like, "Don't worry, nobody counts the pre-show. It's all right." And then they show Cody losing his match, and the Young Bucks lost their match, and then all of them, one of the Young Bucks looks at Kenny, he's like, "Kenny, it's all down to you. They wouldn't book us to lose every single match at Wrestle Kingdom, would they?" And Kenny has this look on his face like, And yeah, long story short, very good event. If you want to invest 4 hours of your time in some pro wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 13 is very good. But yeah, not a very good night for our American guys over in New Japan. They had to do business on the way out. But I would recommend watch if you have New Japan World or you get a copy of the show. I'd watch it. Should we answer some questions? Or
sounds good.
Oh, before we answer questions, goddamn tampon thing.
No, couldn't escape it.
No, did you read Jim Cornette's response to that?
I think I sent it to the group.
Something about the dick wrestler guy.
He like the short of it, unless somebody wants to find it, but the short of it basically was, this is the type of shit that is ruining professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fucking vile. Like, that's not even like an oh my god moment. Like, that's just fucking disgusting, and nobody should ever book her again for a match.
Jim Cornette, people want my take, so I'll give it direct to you. He quoted one of her tweets. Jesus Christ, the balls on this guy. People want my take, so I'll give it direct to you. I expect nothing else from outlaw mud show wrestlers, in quotes, male or female, because none of you can work. But to defend your bullshit by stating, well, it's all fake, that's why you, dick guy, and others are killing wrestling. Fuck you. If you read it, you can read it. You know exactly what tone of voice Jim Cornette would have said that in.
I heard it.
I have to agree 100,000%.
And all right, I want to explain to this, and she will never listen to the show unless we clip this part out and send it to her on Twitter, which maybe we will. So I don't even know. Her name is Priscilla some bullshit. The Priscilla Kelly @ Priscilla Kelly _.
Yeah, no, she's tampon bitch.
So there we go. But here's the deal. She's like, oh, you guys don't mind when Joey Ryan pulls a lollipop out of his trunks and sticks it in somebody's mouth and super kicks him.
Yeah,
you're being sexist. Yeah, no, there's a big fucking difference, because there's a difference between ball sweat on a lollipop, and I know it's not real blood, but if we're producing a show which within kayfabe, everything that happens in the ring is real, then you really, like on a TV show, if this happened, they wouldn't just go, hey guys, this is all fake, blah, blah. You're presenting it as real within the performance. So it was a bloody tampon. There is a difference even between a clean, if she pulled out a tampon that didn't have blood on it, I get it. There you go. That's equivalent to Joey Ryan pulling a lollipop out of his shorts.
Which, by the way, for the record, I think the Joey Ryan shit is fucking stupid too. It's not fucking pro wrestling.
But I also get why, like, the lollipop spot kind of lollipop spot kind of isn't bad because he like licks the lollipop and then he sticks it in the guy's mouth and then he super kicks him. The idea being the fucking lollipop is in your mouth and you get super kicked and it does more damage because there's a lollipop in your mouth. I don't know. But at least it kind of makes sense in wrestling terms.
There's some logic.
Blood is a biohazard. It is something that if your blood potentially, if you have something, not that I'm saying she has the HIV or anything or AIDS, but if you have a bloodborne disease and it gets into an orifice or an open wound of your opponent, you are essentially poisoning them and ruining their life by giving them a disease that they could have otherwise avoided contracting. That's why it's gross. That's why people are reacting this way. That's why when like Brock Lesnar takes the Undertaker's blood and smears it across his chest and licks his hand, and Kevin Owens does it, or whoever else, you've seen that spot a million times. It's fucking gross because somebody's taking the real, and this is real blood. People were cutting their foreheads with razor blades, and then they would take it and they would smear it on their chest and lick their hand.
Get fired for bleeding on Taker?
Bob Orton, because he didn't disclose that he had hepatitis C and then gigged himself in a match. Yeah, that's a bad look. So that's why people are up in arms about it. I understand maybe in some parts of the world all heat is good heat. This only gets her more notoriety, which means she gets more bookings, which means we're going to get more videos of her.
Shame on any promoter that books her, to be honest.
Grosser. I'm just waiting because like the next one is going to be she's going to pull a live gerbil covered in ketchup out of her snatch or some bullshit like that. You just know it's coming. Like it's going to escalate.
There's a follow-up.
Right. There's going to be a follow-up because she's going to try and capitalize on this I'm going viral thing. Good for you. You will be forever known amongst this group of people as the tampon bitch.
Yeah.
Good for you. I've already forgotten your name. Sorry. But there's a difference between ball sweat on a lollipop and blood on a tampon. And I know it was a tea bag dipped in food coloring or whatever the fuck you did. I don't care. As I said, you're presenting it as something that you would have done within the confines of a wrestling match. When we pull out barbed wire in a wrestling match, we go, guys, we clipped the barbs off this barbed wire, or it's rubber, or whatever the fuck. No, it's barbed wire within the context of that show. So within the context of the show, you did something fucking gross, and people are reacting like you did something fucking gross. And then the worst part is she's acting shocked that people are reacting that it's fucking gross. That was the reaction you wanted, and now you're complaining about it. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's so true.
Oh, I'm going to do something shocking, and now people are reacting to how shocking it is. I'm going to get offended. Fuck off. I don't care. Just go away.
I want people to be offended. Why is everybody offended?
Right?
People are so stupid.
Thank you. God damn. I need to not drink kombucha during the show. Apparently, this stuff gets me going. All right, let's answer some questions. Yeah, or I need more. I mean, there's yeast in it. There's got to be some alcohol. Yeah, no, so like yeast infection, tampon girl. I don't know. Segue into the questions.
Oh, God.
That'll be it. She'll just pull out a yeasty tampon. I don't know.
No, a loaf of bread.
There used to be a guy in Connecticut Public Access.
The next one will be a brown-covered tea bag.
Oh, there we go. She stuck it in her pooper. Yeah, there used to be a guy in Connecticut Public Access. He called himself the Tampon Man, and even though he really wasn't the Tampon Man, it just sounded better than the Maxi Pad Man because he did a public access show in like Waterbury, Connecticut.
I don't know,
where he stuck a Maxi Pad on his head and then did a talk show. Like that was the whole gimmick, was that he had a Maxi Pad adhered to his head, and then he did a talk show with people and interviewed them, and they were just supposed to be like, "Oh, this guy's here."
Ignore it.
Fucking yeah, I don't know what do you do? I would stare at the thing the whole time. But anyway, that was the Tampon Man, even though he wore a maxi pad on his head. But questions from Amanda's Instagram, because she has the best social media reach out of all of us, because she's hot and blonde. Anyway.
Okay, so one person asked, when will Jinder get his title back?
Never.
This is a glass. Whoever this is, this is a glass bottle.
They hate me. Clearly.
I will find you and throw this glass bottle at you. Yeah, that's somebody who knows that you don't like Jinder.
Yes, everyone knows.
And then
I can't see Jinder getting a title back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Unless they do an intergender tag team title and him and Alicia Fox can hold it. Shanti. She's funny as fuck.
That's so fucking funny you just said that. I was watching that match, and I was saying to myself, Eric would hate me for saying this because he already thinks there's too many belts. I said, I wonder if they're ever going to come out with an intergender tag team, like what do they fucking call it? The what's the tournament that they do?
The mixed match.
Mixed match. Yeah. Like if they made a mixed match tag team championship.
The fuck? They gave Braun a belt for winning a fake Royal Rumble. They can give you a belt for anything. Give him a belt for the mixed match.
We haven't seen that belt since the fake Royal Rumble.
Now they threw it in a pit with Kyle Khashoggi. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too recent?
God.
I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. No,
they're holding the parts of the guy together with the belt.
No, that's terrible. They put it around his waist to make sure he stayed together when they. Oh no, we're bad people, Ryan. We're bad people.
Yep.
But yeah, no. Listen, my thoughts about intergender. Well, the guys wrestling the girls, I hate it. It's never gonna. My mind's never gonna change.
WWE teased the match with Becky Lynch and Cena.
Yeah, but I mean, how does that go? Either John Cena lets a 150-pound girl kick the shit out of him and win, or John Cena
and you get a ton of heat,
right? Or else, yeah, the one person he puts over in 15, 16 years is goddamn Becky Lynch. Couldn't put any of the boys over.
That promo was great, by the way.
Oh, that John Cena promo about the
Becky Lynch was awesome.
Oh, that one, yes. I thought you meant the one where he was talking about last night with Drew.
No,
that was a good one too.
Well, that was a good one too, but I was talking about with Becky where she said,
Becky killed it. Yeah.
I know you were expecting the man or a man, but how about the man? And it was and then at the end of the match, he went to shake her hand and she did the "You Can't See Me." It was fucking great.
Yeah. So one of the other questions was a quote from Sal Bandini. From Ready to Rumble, that is the WCW movie. It just says, "Wanna wrestle?" I assume that is a pervert that wants to wrestle you in a sexual way. BP.fit. Oh no, that's a real person. Oh, sorry, person who is not a pervert apparently.
No.
Who is it?
Way to alienate our listeners.
I'm sorry. I assumed that it was a
creepo
guy that wanted to wrestle her. I'm sorry. You've
I
never
thought
been
that
around those parts.
all
right, thank you. We're the degenerates of the room. So who is BP Fit so I can give them credit now instead of them being a pervert?
She's a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. All right. Is it it's a girl?
Yeah, the girl in the picture.
Oh, well, yeah, but anybody can put I had to ask because anybody can put a profile picture of a hot girl on.
Yeah.
And just be a
very easy.
Yeah, just a weirdo. So no, now I'm actually kind of okay with it. Do you want to wrestle her? And if you do you want to do it on a Tuesday night, 7:05? Right around here. We give you 5 minutes. We're gonna do the setup and the intro to the show.
Yeah.
We hit the bell.
Then intro into the match.
Right, and then we will not say a fucking word.
Do you see the muscle on that girl? She will kick my ass.
Yeah, it's all work though, right?
No, she actually she does those like competitions.
Yeah, but I mean, like you would work a wrestling match. I don't think you'd have a shoot match.
Oh yeah,
you can do. She'd have to sell for you a little bit. I mean, come on.
We're not going to get you squashed on our own show.
I know, right? We booked the damn show. We're not going to have you lose. Anyway, if you did want to wrestle her, I'm sure Steve would put that up as advertisement for Tag Me a Date.
We could make it work.
We could definitely make that work.
Hell fucking yeah.
I want Eric in a tuxedo with a red bow tie, dressed like Mean Gene, standing somewhere there.
We just standing off in the background.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to say anything. He can just stand there with the microphone.
And not every so often.
Just go, fuck it. Something falls in the background and Eric just goes, fuck it. That's my favorite clip of Mean Gene. Anyway.
I also love the put that cigarette out.
Oh, put that cigarette out's a good one too. So thank you, BP Fit. The answer is maybe. Just sign on the dotted line, daddy. Bring the challenge anywhere, anytime. No, all right, anyway. We'll go to Alfie _Alfie. Hi, Alfie. Double Alfie squared says Finn, Rollins, or Drew to win the Rumble, and who will guest entrance be?
I don't think Finn, Rollins, or Drew are going to win, but if I had to choose one, I would say Drew McIntyre.
Really? I would say Finn.
I'd want Finn.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't want Finn.
So how would they get to Seth versus Brock if he didn't win the Rumble? That would be my.
I don't want Seth versus Brock.
I don't want that.
I don't either, but I think that's what we're
right.
Because it's going to kill Braun.
Braun's already dead.
Right, but the Royal Rumble is going to kill Braun dead if he loses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It will. He will be trying to climb out the grave, and he's just have a shotgun in the face.
That Bray Wyatt.
How does Braun not win at the Rumble?
I don't know.
Because he's wrestling Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I see what
like it's time.
It was time 2 years ago.
Well, true. But it's like, now the fans have to say, well, this fan says, give it to make him fucking drop it at the Rumble.
I'm okay with. I mean, let's see. Which one was that?
Or you could have Braun drop it back to whoever at the Elimination Chamber and have them literally just run rough shed with finishers to pin him.
Goodness gracious!
I'd be more pissed with that too. Then he's a paperweight.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
There's no good way of doing this.
This all spells doom for Braun Strowman. No matter how he slice it, he's going to hit the Bray Wyatt line of how many losses you can take before it starts to really affect the reactions that you get.
It's a water line that's going to just sink his ship.
And second of all, they didn't do him any favors.
I can't believe that's true, Vince. I can't, and I can't believe that he's going to become a Bray Wyatt.
I hope not. Listen. Whoever wrote that promo for him last night,
Undertaker.
Yeah, a Big Show. I get what you mean. Big Show always.
Well, Undertaker first couple years didn't have any titles.
Yeah, but Big Show is one of those guys that there was a stretch, and I guess it's still relevant now when he does wrestle. But there was a stretch where he was like, they're like, oh, how is anybody ever going to topple the 7-foot tall, 500-pound Big Show?
And everybody topples him,
right? And then they beat him, and then they pick him up on their shoulders. They go, oh my god, nobody's ever done that before. And then they slam him, and it's like, what the fuck? This happened 6 months ago. So,
nobody's done that since last week. My God, Cole.
I hope that doesn't happen to Braun. But again, whoever wrote that promo for him on Monday night should be dragged out in the middle of the street and fucking shot. That promo. I don't think there was a person alive. Hulk Hogan could have came back out and said that promo and not gotten a reaction. That's how bad it was. Like,
the whole interaction wasn't great.
The whole thing was just weird and awkward, and like Brock didn't really sell anything the way he should have sold it. Like, you'd think if somebody called him a bitch and a coward and he won't come to the ring and fight me, like, you'd be a little hot about it.
Yeah.
What a waste of having Heyman there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had Heyman there. At least let him do one of his fucking custom promos. Know what I mean?
For real.
Like, that's just a waste.
Yeah.
And then to think how much they probably paid Brock to be there.
So and then Brock
walk around the ring.
And I understand if Braun Strowman's elbow still isn't good, but then here's the other thing. Then don't book him in the match.
Right.
God.
Or don't book the segment.
Right. Or, have Braun be pulling in his rental car, and Brock Lesnar or Paul Heyman drives a Hummer into his fucking rental car, or Brock flips it over because Braun loved to flip shit over. So Brock flipped over Braun's car, and now Braun has to go flip over his monster truck or whatever the fuck. Like, do something that if the guy can't go out there and get physical with Brock, do something else. Like, that whole confrontation in 99% of wrestling segments ends in a pull-apart brawl.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah. Except that time. Because nobody touched each other. And it was weird. And it wasn't weird in a good way, like, oh, they haven't touched it. It was like, neither of these guys really wants to mix it up tonight, apparently. Like, what the fuck? They're standing 2 feet from each other and don't take a swing. Anyway, all of that came from Alfie _ Alfie. From the Finn Rollins Drew who would win the Rumble, and the guests
Yeah.
are the surprise. Well, it's okay. So let's address that. The surprises. I have no fucking clue this year.
I have no idea this year.
I think Kushida could be one of them because he's leaving New Japan. He announced he's leaving New Japan. So the time splitter, Kushida, would be a nice pickup for any brand. They're saying it might be NXT or 205, which is fine because he is a junior heavyweight, so I understand it. But, you know, I wish for something better than him to be stuck in mid-card
205.
205, yeah. If a tree falls in the woods. But anyway, I don't know who the special entrance will be this year. It's a weird. David Arquette.
I'm hoping Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would. Well, we'll see. But
David Arquette's not happening.
Wait, the contract's up.
Funny as fuck.
That would be funny.
He stinks, but hey,
Yeah.
more credit to him. He's doing it.
We got Jim Carrey one year. Not Jim Carrey, Drew Carey. Wrong Carey.
Yes.
I was like,
Boy,
Jim?
2019 Jim Carrey would be a hell of a Royal Rumble entrant. What the fuck
Yeah.
would he do? He's a madman.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my god.
Just come out and just paint a picture and be depressed.
Or give somebody an STD and then they kill themselves. Wait,
Yeah, that too.
too soon too?
Jesus.
No, perfect amount of time.
For those of you who aren't aware of this, he gave his girlfriend an STD and she felt so bad about it she killed herself, and the parents are suing him.
That's awful.
Thank you, Jim Carrey. Now every time I see one of those movies of yours or whatever on TV, that's all I'm going to think about. Please leave your... Everybody just we should just stop. From here, from 2019, we just say, okay, we're just going to remember every celebrity the way they were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Leave the memories alone.
Right. Leave the memories alone. Fucking Jerry Seinfeld, poor guy. He has a hit show, the most popular sitcom in the world, and now these goddamn millennials are putting on Seinfeld to try and watch. Oh, my parents used to watch this show. It's so hipster and throwback. Hashtag vintage. And now they're going to watch it and get all offended because they said something about gay people. They said something about, it's a fucking comedy show. God damn. We're not getting into this free speech conversation again.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
That's a black hole in it itself.
It really, really is. That'll be my 8 o'clock show. It'll be our InfoWars
I'll join
style
you.
show.
The free speech hour.
They're poisoning the water, turning the frogs gay. So let's continue. Mr. Pezet. I'm going to assume it's Canadian and French. Mr. Pezet.
No, neither.
Really?
Mhm.
So who's
That's a second swing and miss from you.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm assuming things by the fact that she's Canadian and then it ends in ZET. I thought it was going to be. So he's Mr. Peasant? That sounds worse somehow. Anyway.
He is
sent
peasant.
he sent in 3 questions.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of you then. Let's see. Can you see Kenny Omega being a surprise entrant in the Rumble? Hey, Alfie had the same question. Yeah, like AJ. Yeah, very potential. I mean, the speculation is because his contract in New Japan runs out on the 31st and the Royal Rumble is before that, people are thinking he won't do it. But also, there's the consideration of what if they just WWE gives New Japan money? Just here.
They kind of have money.
Yeah, just give them buy out the last 3 days of his contract or whatever, and he makes his appearance. Who knows? It could very well happen. I agree with you. Thank you, Mr. Peasant. Number 2. What do you think of the new storyline for the Raw Women's title? Possibly 4 racehorses versus 4 unicorns later on. I know what he's saying. The 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I like the idea of Sasha versus Ronda.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a great match.
I think it'll be a really good match, yeah.
Obviously, Sasha's probably going to take the loss, but I think Sasha's going to be able to carry Ronda well. Not that she needs so much carrying, but it's going to be a put together. It's going to be really well. I'm glad to see. And listen, they said we're going to get different matchups. This is different. They're using Sasha again.
Yeah.
What if we get Sonya Deville?
By the way, put on one hell of a match last night too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sasha is very good, and then that fucking Hurricane Rana thing is very silly.
Whoa.
All right, whatever. I think I just killed whatever that was. All right, good. So, yeah, the Hurricane Rana off the ring apron where Nia Jax proceeded to
that looked like
not
shit.
go.
Not do anything. It's kind of flop.
Listen, you're asking a 200+ pound lady, I assume, to do a front flip off the goddamn apron onto the floor.
From her knees.
5 ounces.
What's that?
She said she's 300.5 ounces, which is
Oh,
equivalent
yeah.
to 18 pounds.
Yeah.
She's hilarious, by the way.
Who's
Nia
Nia?
Jax. She's funny as hell.
Nia, somebody said it online earlier. She has that like Valley Girl
She
Clueless
does.
style voice, which
Very
just
much.
it doesn't fit her
Not a-
build at all, but it's really funny.
Yeah.
Was anybody else during so Rhonda cut this promo on Alexa Bliss's new talk show because Alexa Bliss is injured apparently and can't wrestle, so she has a talk show now. In the great wrestling tradition of if you're injured, you have a talk show, which is cool. I don't mind. Gets the character on TV. It is. It's something. It's not bad.
And she's good on the mic.
She is.
Yeah.
So Rhonda's cutting this promo, and she's like, I want to face the real underdog of this division, the blah, blah, blah. In my mind, tell me if anybody else is with me. She's building up this person, the real talent, the #1 wrestler, the underdog, the blah, blah, blah. This. I want Rhonda to end and go, Natty Neidhart. Like, I really thought she was going to say that, and then the crowd was just going to go.
That could also start an issue now between Natty and Rhonda.
This is true. But I was just waiting for her. There's all this buildup about somebody, and then for her to just go be like, Alicia Fox. Or some dumb shit.
Yeah,
but no, it
some
was like
random.
And then she said Sasha, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. And the crowd was even like, like they didn't
What would
quite.
be great is if she called up Sonya from NXT.
So, yes. Well, isn't she on? Sonya Deville's on.
No, I might be.
SmackDown.
Who's the NXT Women's Champ?
Oh, Shayna.
Shayna. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names.
They're all in that group.
SH.
And they're all the horsewomen.
Yeah.
Part of that. So with Jesse
or anybody of that group.
Yeah.
Would have been great.
Which would have been interesting to see if they would wrestle, see how they would wrestle each other in a situation like that. But she said Sasha, which was like, hey, we'll go with that. Yeah. I like that the crowd kind of didn't at first. They didn't react because I think they were surprised.
Yeah. I mean, how many times does a face call a face?
And how many times has Sasha Banks just been beaten down to the lower bottom half, third, eighth of the card?
Yeah.
Over the last year and a half. It was like they were like, we're going to make these women's tag team titles, and Bayley and Sasha are going to be the first women's tag team champions. So let's not put them in a feud. We'll just put them in a holding pattern for 2 years. For 2 years!
A super holding pattern that will never end.
It was like, it was like the plane just kept flying around the airport looking for a place to land, and it just kept going. God damn. But at least they're getting work in. Like, potentially, this could be Rhonda going through singles matches with all of the 4 horsewomen, leading to a singles match with Becky or a singles match with Charlotte at WrestleMania, or that potential three-way match. But just seeing Rhonda wrestle all of the horsewomen in succession until she gets to that main event, and then you can spin off and do the 4 horsewomen thing after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
you build it up to
SummerSlam,
either
Survivor
SummerSlam.
Series.
Yeah, I was going to say, you plant the seed right, Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. You have some kind of match to follow it up at SummerSlam, and then you have the big blow off at Survivor Series because it's a fucking Survivor Series match. That's like when the Shield and the Wyatt family should have had a Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
It never happened. So we can do this now. 4 horsewomen. Let's not fuck it up. And then again,
we will.
Bayley and Sasha have been waiting for 2 years for these tag team titles that haven't come. So who knows if they're going to fuck it up. We'll see. But
when is that officially gonna happen?
They had new belts ordered, and then there were the thing that I sent you, or I think last week about it. So I don't know.
What if we do that at Mania?
Like if they announced it for WrestleMania?
Yeah, have a tournament up to Mania.
Yeah, and then instead of that shitty women's battle royal, they could have the finals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could just make it shittier by having a tag team battle royal.
Yeah, that too.
Where both the girls have to go.
Have it same style, except if both people need to be eliminated to eliminate the team.
Yes, yeah. So it could potentially boil down to one member of each of
4 teams.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I just put that out. I take it back. I can't put that out in the universe. It might come true. Is there? I think there might be one more question for Mr. Pretzel, Mr. Peasant. Do you ever see John Cena winning the elusive 17th world title to break the tie with Rick?
I could see it.
I hope not.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know because he's not full-time anymore. He's kind of making his exit.
I kind of want to see it because why have him reach 16?
Yeah, exactly. And if there's anybody that should be able to beat it, it should be him. He, like, everything he did was for that company.
Or nobody ever beats it.
That's the other one.
And Cena came the closest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me kind of wants to see it because of how it was built up. Forcing to break it.
And that's the thing. It was built as a thing that I guess if John Cena didn't get all these movie roles and stay with WWE full time, would have probably already happened at WrestleMania one of these last 4 years.
Right.
He's just been spending most of his time. Yes, because knowing WWE, it would be on fucking Battleground that 20,000 people watched. And the show ends at 10:35 for some stupid.
No, it'd be at like 12:30. No one's watching. After they turn the pay-per-view into like a 6-hour affair.
We're in the lovely kingdom of Saudi Arabia. From You Can't Saudi Me, John Cena's last chance to get a world title.
They just take 4 years to do the.
Right,
in an Iron Man match, let alone.
No, it would be in a fucking championship scramble with Brian Kendrick in it. Or some stupid shit like that.
Iron Man scramble match.
Let's figure out the worst possible way that John Cena would win his world title based on the way they booked last year. Ugh.
Iron Man shoots and ladders chairs match.
It would be rock, paper, scissors. Because you don't know if you're going to throw paper,
you could see
scissors or paper. Yeah, he would never throw. He would have to fuck him up by throwing scissors because he really only ever throws rock or paper. So he would just have to mix it up.
Just throw it in there.
Oh boy! God. All right, so this is our. We just hit the 2-minute warning because even less than that because I think it's 1 minute now, but SmackDown is starting soon.
You wait through the minute.
Yes, I know. I turned it. We turned the fucking. That sounded like the siren from Dean Ambrose's entrance music. But we're reaching the end of the show. If you have questions, usually it's Amanda's Instagram or any of our social media accounts at Tag Me a Date on Instagram or Twitter. Use the hashtag #AskTheWarReport or send an email to askthewarreport@gmail.com. And if you ask a question, we will read it on air. And you'll be entered into our monthly pay-per-view pick'em contest where you win a free entry into the WrestleRumble.com pay-per-view pick'em. It is only $5 to enter the WrestleRumble.com pay-per-view pick'em. But if you'd like a chance at free entry, send us an email, askthewarreport@gmail.com, or hashtag askthewarreport on social media and tag me a date. What do we got for the Royal Rumble, Amanda?
We're still finalizing everything. We're going to have the list out soon.
All right. And the Rumble's a good one to get because it's so unique. So the questions that they ask for the pick'em will be different than your standard who wins, who loses by disqualification or whatever the fuck else. There's going to be, first one
order.
Order of elimination. There's all kinds of shit. So
I think they do actual, if I remember correctly from last year, they do every single.
Yeah, they did.
1 through 30, who's coming, they get it. It's going to take you a good hour to fill it out, but the prizes are always great. So, Amanda gave us a nice teaser. You're just going to have to stay tuned to find out what they are.
It's true. Yep. Once we finalize, we shall know. And I think that'll, just about do it for today's show. Again, we're tagmeadate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for wrestling fans. With a roster of over 70,000 superstars and divas, you too can find your tag team match on tagmeadate.com. It is free to sign up, free to post status updates, free to match, free to message, free to search. It's free. Search by location, search by favorite wrestler, favorite event, all kinds of metrics for you to search by. And again, all free at tagmeadate.com. Follow us on social media at tagmeadate.
On YouTube, you go to youtube.com, and in the search bar, you type tag me a date, all one word, no spaces, tag me a date. And you'll see the Tag Me a Date YouTube page where you can hit the subscribe button to subscribe. Make sure when you hit the subscribe button, you also hit the bell, which sends you an alert on your device when we go live or upload a new video. And we go live Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. Again, adjust your clocks if you are international or in another time zone. But again, it's at youtube.com. In the search bar, you type in Tag Me a Date, and you can go right to our channel, subscribe. We go live 7 p.m. Tuesday evenings, Eastern Time, and it is now 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So SmackDown Live is on. Enjoy your SmackDown Live. We will be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another edition of The War Report. Thank you so much for listening.